This week's episode, The Mandalorian searches for redemption. Creed gets into the ring for a third time, and Star Trek sees the end of Discovery. All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows, and if you can, please give us that fantastic 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, where you can catch the latest news and trends in pop culture right there for you at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the Lakers Fast Break, where we cover the NBA and so much more right there for you at Lakers Fast Break, wherever you get your podcasts. Vampires and Vitae, go ahead and catch the crew not only on the weekends on YouTube, but also as well wherever you get your podcasts, because you know Melinda is always trying to drive her husband crazy at Vampires and Vitae. Plus also as well, she runs some great games at Wizards and Wine. So go ahead and check it out there with Wild Beyond the Witchlight. It is at YouTube and, of course, wherever you get your podcasts. PopCultureCosmos.wordpress.com. I've got a lot of great stuff going on there, including I will be updating the latest update for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, my thoughts on the MCU, and I rank every movie in order, plus Ant-Man. That'll be updated this weekend at PopCultureCosmos.wordpress.com. Plus, you can catch Mike Speakman's review of Metroid Prime Reloaded, the awesomely reviewed game for the Switch. So go ahead and check it out today at popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. Plus, if you can go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, and just give us any kind of love that you can here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. She is the mastermind and the, well, I can't say torturer because, you know, after all the scandalous stuff they said about that HBO show this week, torture is kind of like a bad word, but the antagonist for her own husband each and every weekend when you watch Vampires and Vitae, and also as well The Wild Beyond the Witchlight, plus the Demolition Force as well, and also Michael's game as well. Forget what they call it. Which one are you?
Reckless Moves.
Yeah, that's right. Recklessmoves.com. Reckless Moves, that's also available out there on video as well. Go ahead and catch what she does today. It is Melinda Barkhouse Ross. And Melinda, great to have you back. You've given Robbie, good to see you as well. You've given Robbie a break.
Yes.
I know he's breathing a sigh of relief, which for him is obviously very good. But you know what? For today, this week, we're talking a ton of pop culture in a very short period of time. Plus, I've got a surprise for you at the end of the show as well.
Can we do the surprise now? I don't like to wait for surprises.
You've got to, you know what? I actually got the word from your husband. He said, make her wait till the end of the show. All the pain she gives me on Vampires of Vitae and Wild Beyond the Witchlight and Demolition Force.
Yeah, that's what I get for being a brat.
Yes, and Reckless Moves. So, yes, there you go, indeed. But we've got lots to talk about. Creed 3, Operation Fortune, Star Trek news, Star Trek thoughts, Henry Cavill in Call of Duty, all that and more. Plus, I've got a great conversation with TJ Johnson, who said this week, why didn't anybody want to talk about The Last of Us with me? Well, I said, I do. And we did for a good half an hour. And that's coming up on the show as well. But first, my friend, it is The Mandalorian Season 3. The reason why so many people actually still have Disney Plus. It aired episode 1. It went by just like that. If you blinked, you missed it, because they went from here to there to here to there to here to there to here to there to here to there really quick. in a short amount of time. I thought that was to the detriment to the episode, but it was still a fun episode per se. I just thought it could have been better, but if they just slowed down a little bit, but I still say that the arc of having the Mandalorian try to find redemption for showing his helmet. I think that what he has to go and do and the try to find the water deep in the depths of the planet Mandalore, which was already ravaged on more than one occasion, especially the last time in the Purge by the Empire. The challenge is there, along with some other side stuff that they set up in episode one, which is the reason why they went bing, 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 because they're trying to set up all the stuff for the rest of the season. It might have made it a little bit less enjoyable for an episode than normal, but still makes for a great season of The Mandalorian.
It does, and I think the first thing that really confused a lot of people, especially if they did not sit through Sloba Fett, is the fact that the Mandalorian ended up with Grogu again. Because
Yes.
that happened in the Book of Boba Fett, right? It didn't
Yes.
happen at the end of Mandalorian.
Yes. John Favreau said this week it would be in your best interest to catch the episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, or he
Yeah,
said you can cheat. You could what was that yellow book you had as a kid, or the with all the cheat and the I guess the quick
Cole's notes.
the Coles notes and
Yeah.
just right there. That's the Coles notes. Just going to YouTube and getting a synopsis from there. Said you could cheat and do that, or enjoy it in full with the Book of Slobo Fett.
Yeah, and that was the first thing that I saw that people had any real confusion over the episode was just, wait a minute, when did that happen? Because that didn't happen in season two. So it just goes to show you, and again, I really do think that a lot of people are going to be borrowing pages from the Marvel how to make all of your shows and all of your movies and all of your video games cross over into each other and be relevant. So people need to watch it as soon as it comes out, because the next thing that's going to come along is the thing that's going to, refer to that thing or make a reference to it. And you might be a little bit lost if you miss even one single episode. So, yeah, it's a familiar tactic now, thanks to Marvel and everything that they did with Agents of Shields when the movies would come out and stuff like that. I think it's a genius play, and yeah, good on Star Wars for picking that one up. I mean, Favreau is involved in that one too, so maybe I'm talking out of my butt, but I do think that the two things are very closely mirroring the approach anyway.
Absolutely, and they I have learned. I know it's to the detriment to what Liam Neeson says about too many spin-offs for Star Wars and all that, but it has got to be content that people come to for Disney Plus, and for adults, lately it's been nothing but Marvel and Star Wars. But you see the level of Star Wars interest where the Book of Boba Fett, many people miss that. Star Wars or many people miss that. Some of the other Star Wars shows, many people miss that, so they don't know exactly what's going on, especially when it comes to the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. So I think that speaks volumes about, oh, we were only around for the Mandalorian. Well, you got to be around for a little bit more as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for once, I was actually part of the segment of the audience that was in on the joke and not left going, wait, what? So I felt pretty snarky about my level of Star Wars knowledge. You know, I know as the Star Trek fan, I was, impressed with myself and what I knew about Star Wars. So, um, is that what people feel like all the time when you're up to date on all of your shows? That's usually how it feels?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
man, I gotta do that more often.
Now you know how I feel. I try to keep.
Yeah.
I lose a lot of sleep because I try to catch up on a lot, a lot of pop culture and sleep pop culture. Well, sorry, it's pop culture. It wins every time. But I
Yeah.
want to make sure that at least because I know you have so much on your plate, and I know that Josh does as well, and TJ and now the whole crew. They always have so much on their plate. So at least I know that when I express my thoughts on it, it's something that I've caught and something I'm able to give an opinion on right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But it is The Mandalorian season 3, episode 1. I am looking forward to it. Just the thing is that at one episode had to do so much in such a short amount of time, and they had to go have Mandalorian go to so many different places on and so many different planets in within the context of one episode. It made for an episode that could have been better. It wasn't bad by any stretch, but it could have been better. But it also sets up everything for a better storyline for the rest of the episode. So they basically sacrificed one episode to expand the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And what it did was it laid down the main quest of the season, and then it laid down all of the little mini quests that he's
Yeah,
gonna
like the
have to do.
pirates,
Yeah.
yeah, saving Carl Weathers' planet,
Yep.
that's going to come. That's going to come and all that. So, and some other, so Bo Katan, when he
Mhm.
meets up with Bo Katan on her castle that she's at, and trying to get all of her legions back because she doesn't have the dark sword, that side story. So, all these different side stories were set up along with the main story of trying to get his redemption and becoming a full member of his sect of the Mandalore universe, as far as the Watch is concerned, and being able to go ahead and do that. So it set itself nicely for all those stories and whatnot. It just kind of hurt the episode itself, but I am thankful that we now have the Mandalorian back once again. Any last thoughts on the Mandalorian season 3? We'll actually, you and I will be breaking down as much as we can each of the episodes or as much of the season as we can on the show, on the Friday shows. So looking forward to it. But any last thoughts on the Mandalorian?
I'm thrilled that I am living through the age of Pedro Pascal. That's those are my thoughts on The Mandalorian. I am thrilled. I think the man has charm um to spare. I think that he has proven himself to be a tour de force in the entertainment industry right now, and I'm here for every single minute of it. I love it. I think he's wonderful, and he's everybody's TV daddy right now.
Yes, he is. Absolutely,
Mhm.
indeed. Once again, want to thank so much everybody for watching and listening. Don Fobbs from the Mother Daughter Ish podcast, our excellent TV host and the one that knows TV, our TV expert. She's actually watching us now. She and I will be talking about on our next TV update coming up either later this month or early next month, whenever I could, whenever we can get our schedules aligned. She'll be talking about the Mandalorian because it's be interesting to see how popular it still is in its season 3. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, on an upcoming episode. But Melinda and I are going to be talking about the episodes as much as we can. What are your thoughts on episode 1 of season 3 of The Mandalorian? Please let us know your thoughts. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, before we go ahead and hit the break, and TJ Johnson talking about all the great things with The Last of Us, I do want to cover one quick thing, if we can, real quick. Creed 3 of Michael B. Jordan, all over doing the publicity, just got on deservedly on the Walk of Fame. Plus also Operation Fortune, which is the latest Guy Ritchie film. Both of those movies are hitting theaters, with Creed 3 looking to overtake Ant-Man at the box office. Your thoughts on the weekend at the movies before we head to the break?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate to see a Paul Rudd movie, sliding as much as it is, but I am also thrilled for Michael B. Jordan. And I was just thinking to myself, can Michael B. Jordan do a British accent?
You never know.
Because that's some 007 stuff right there. Just a thought. I just randomly had it. There's no
But I
reason
think
for it, but
The UK will probably poo-poo any American getting that role.
no, that's true. But there was a point in time when I poo-pooed a James Bond who was blonde. So we all saw how that turned out. Now people are mad that James Bond is not going to be blonde anymore.
Yes.
So, you know, what can you do?
Yeah, I will say though that don't feel bad for Michael B. Jordan. He's doing a great job doing a whole
Yeah.
bunch of things. He did have to apologize to his mom for the Calvin Klein ads, but you know what? Other than being named the people's sexiest man alive, and Creed 3 doing well, most likely at the box office this weekend, and getting the star on the Walk of Fame, I think he's doing okay if he doesn't get the James Bond. I think he's
Yeah,
great
yeah,
too.
yeah. That kid's doing all right. Don't
Yeah,
worry about
yeah,
him.
yeah, absolutely.
He's
I
doing
think he's
so
all good.
well. I'm so happy.
I I guess so. Yeah, absolutely. But
Mhm.
I also want to mention Guy Ritchie directing this film with Jason Statham. A pretty good cast coming up this weekend. But your thoughts on it? Did you get a chance to check out the trailer for Operation Fortune? There's also a Ruse de Guerre. Got to roll my R's with that as far as the rest of the title is.
I mean, you can put Jason Statham in just about anything, and I will be there with my giant bag of popcorn and huge Slurpee, ready to
Okay.
watch it in the movie theater. Yeah, Jason Statham is another one of those guys that I'll watch him do anything on the big screen. He can cut his toenails on the big screen, and I'll go watch him. I'll watch a whole movie about that. I'm
Is he like Tom
shameless.
Hardy, where he could read the phone book to you?
Well, I think that would put him above Tom Hardy, clipping
Okay.
toenails versus reading phone book. I don't know,
Okay.
but
All right. All right. Fair enough.
that's
But
terrible. No.
it
I
is.
just
Go ahead.
sorry. I just really enjoy Jason Statham. I have since I saw him in The Transporter more years ago than I care to admit, to be honest. So it's that's another guy. It's been really incredible watching his career as it has unfolded. It's been really fun to watch.
Well, I checked out Metacritic. Creed 3 is getting a 73 right now. Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre is unfortunately getting mixed reviews, but I will say right now, if you get both a chance this weekend, if you're interested, go ahead and check it out. That is Creed 3, the evolution of the Rocky Creed franchise, and also as well Operation Fortune. Go ahead and check it out today. And if you have any thoughts on either of those movies, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Coming up next is TJ Johnson talking about The Last of Us. And then after the break, and after we have our conversation, after I have my conversation with him, Melinda and I got so much to get to talk to you on, including a special surprise for her. That's coming up at the back end of the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the show. It's the PCC Multiverse. Want to thank so much TJ Johnson for stopping by, talking about The Last of Us. He was so excited. I felt the passion. The one thing I love most about TJ is when he really wants to talk about something, you can absolutely feel the passion in his voice about how much he cares for it. And since you and I have also seen The Last of Us and are just excited to see what's coming up for the rest of season one, you could just tell how much love he has for this, as obviously already the greatest video game adaptation of all time. But I know you're excited for the final two episodes as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where they're going to leave off. The last episode, another one of those like gut wrenching ones, where you get to see people experiencing these moments of true happiness in just this horrible situation, just to have it once again ripped away. I mean, it's a pattern, perhaps in shows like that, but man, it gets no less gut wrenching when you're seeing, especially somebody who's how old is she in the show? Like 13 or 14, I
13.
think. 13.
Yes.
She
Yes.
never experienced an escalator before. So she had never been to a mall before. These are things that I think that we forget when we're watching a show like that. Is um, sometimes the character don't know what it's like to be a normal 13-year-old girl, and to have that um, not to have those experiences, and then you get a chance to watch somebody experience all of it, and then experience a real moment of happiness and, dare I say, hope, just to have it taken away from you just like that is it was another really wonderful but hard episode to watch.
And you know what makes it great is that it was taken directly, not almost shot by shot, but virtually shot
Mm,
by shot from the Left Behind DLC from the original Last of Us, which I thought was awesome that they would take this DLC, this add-on
mm.
that maybe half or less than half the people that bought the original Last of Us played. They took that and they loved it so much that they added it into the show, and was able to effectively intertwine it in a form of a flashback into the show, and have it also be a great part of what she is and who she is right now at this point in the series. Yeah, I thought it was just amazing, just that DLC has now been translated and given a life of its own.
Yeah, for sure. And now to know where the pun book came from, like, oh,
Yes.
my heart. My
Yes.
heart. Yeah.
Well, if you've got thoughts on The Last of Us, let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Plus, also as well, TJ and I will be covering more of episode 8. We're going to probably be up late night on Sunday night talking about it because he's really excited now. So I don't want to let him down. Plus, in the next couple of weeks, we will be doing a overview of season 1 of The Last of Us. He wants to go through it thoroughly. So please check out us. Please continue to check out our shows at the Pop Culture Cosmos. But my friend, before we head on out, bullet point time. All right, so you ready? Here we
Yes,
go.
I'm
Starting
ready.
with Hulu, History of the World Part 2. Mel Brooks. I hope this isn't his last project. I hope he has more left in the can, so to speak. I know he's in his 90s, but I know he still wants to create comedy, and he did oversee this History of the World Part 2. It's getting okay reviews, but the thing is that it's just still evolves comedy in a way that I think that he was so irreverent at for so many years. Your thoughts on History of the World Part 2 coming very soon to Hulu?
It's one of those shows, and it's one of those shows that I watch when I am looking for something to watch and haven't landed on anything yet. Well, I guess I'll put
Mhm.
this on and burn through a couple of episodes. So that's pretty much kind of where it falls in my hierarchy of I gotta watch it now. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna watch this the first day that it comes out, just because I have such a full plate of other stuff that I need to get caught up on.
Because it's
Inclu-
coming out on the 6th, just to let
Mhm.
everybody know.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean that includes Star Trek, which I've been a fan of for forever, and
Oh,
I'm
we'll be
just
talking Star Trek here in a minute.
yeah, but like I still need to catch up on all of that. So, this Mel Brooks show is one that is on my radar. It's just at the far end of the radar right now.
It's getting solid reviews. It's right around a 71 for Metacritic. It does say season 1, so this could lead it with good enough ratings to maybe something more. So we'll see, but it extends the Mel Brooks universe, so to speak, and his comedic talents and his legacy and what
Mhm.
he's left what he will be leaving behind to a worldwide audience, and maybe have younger viewers get a little bit of the idea of what the Mel Brooks comedy world was all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he was the guy between or behind Robin Hood Men in Tights and all of those, wasn't he?
That was the later Mel Brooks, yeah. Obviously,
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles, and
Right.
it was probably one of his most famous, History of the World Part 1. There are in the 70s, Young Frankenstein, just
Hmm.
so many classic comedic films of the 1970s and early 1980s. I think that really where he shined the most. But yeah, we'd love to see people support Mel Brooks in his I guess twilight years, hopefully supporting History of the World Part 2. But if you have any thoughts on season 1 of History of the World Part 2, which in and of itself kind of doesn't make sense, but that's Mel Brooks for you, please let us know. Popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Speaking of Star Trek, before we get your thoughts on Picard, we did hear some bad news today that came down from Paramount that Star Trek Discovery, a show which has been all over the place with Star Trek fans, a show that was actually at one time had hopes of being something that maybe could have been on CBS because it was actually put on CBS a couple times, is ending its run after season 5, and it will be actually debuting in 2024. It got pushed back from a 2023 date to next year. Your thoughts on the end of Star Trek Discovery? It has been a roller coaster ride. It had a very shaky start. It had some strong season 2 and 3. 4 was not as biting to me. Hopefully, season 5 will end the series on a high note.
Yeah, and I think that it will. I think that finding the sweet spot for what really was the first show that I feel like has kind of led to this Star Trek renaissance that we're enjoying right now.
It is,
Um,
yes.
yeah, it was like the front end of that. So I'm always going to have a soft spot for Star Trek Discovery. Also, the exploration that they did of the early Klingon culture and stuff like that in the first season. I know a lot of people didn't like that, and it was pretty chunky content to kind of get through as a fan. But
I know you
um,
love them Klingons.
I do. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is, but I just Kaplach and Kai in the
Kablach.
sky and all of that. Yes,
You know,
but
if you
no,
do a lot
I
of, you're good.
yeah, that's essentially what you need to do is clear your throat a lot. But that's how I learned. But no, I think that 5 seasons for Star Trek Discovery is a pretty solid showing, to be honest. Especially, again, like that first half of the first season where it was really heavily about the Klingon stuff and having them speaking Klingon on screen with the subtitles. That's not for everybody. That's not everybody's favorite thing is subtitles. So um, I think that the show came a long way. I think that the writers and the people behind the show were receptive to what fans had to say about it, and I think that they did try to tweak some of the things along the way. But they managed to get 5 seasons out of it, and as a Star Trek fan, I'm perfectly happy to have 5 seasons of Star Trek to watch.
Absolutely. And you know that show is very emotional. Very
Very.
emotional. Everybody cries in that show. So you know season 5 they're going to be very, very emotional. Although it did lead to obviously what we saw with Strange New Worlds, which is the best of Star Trek television by
Right.
far. No trying to disparage Picard or Discovery, but it was just first season of Star Trek Strange New World knocked it out of the park, and those characters emanated from Discovery. I don't know if they're going to branch off anything more from Star Trek Discovery. I know they had talked about a Starfleet show that they were thinking about doing, spinning off, and then also Michelle Yeoh, her character, talking about spinning
Hmm.
off her character on her own series. I don't know if those will ever come to fruition, but at least we got Star Trek New Strange New Worlds to go ahead and continue that type of push that maybe we'll see some Discovery legacy characters down the road. I don't know how since they're on different time frames, but maybe. You never know. It's Star Trek.
I mean, a Star Trek series based around Michelle Yeoh. I think I have another strongly worded email I'm gonna have to write.
Well, the thing is that was planned because she works for that Star Trek, I guess like NSA, FBI
Yeah,
type department.
yeah. We don't talk about that department.
Yeah, we don't talk about that department, but now that she's about on the verge of winning an Oscar because she just won the SGAs this past
Yeah,
weekend,
that's true.
I think the price just went up and maybe might be too pricey for Paramount at this point in time. So we'll
Maybe
see.
that equals movie instead of TV show.
Oh, don't even get started with the movie. This week, Chris Pine was said he was so frustrated at the way Star Trek 4 is working out as far as all the rumors, the innuendo,
Mm,
the way Paramount has initially talked about it and backed out, and now nobody knows what's going on. So yeah, he's doesn't even really want to hear it. Although now he's doing the media blitz for Dungeons and Dragons. Guess what? He has to hear a whole bunch of it. So yeah, he's
yeah.
not too thrilled with that right now. So let's. I don't even know about a Star Trek movie coming anytime soon, but the TV end of it is still going on with Discovery ending next year. Season 5, Star Trek Strange New Worlds probably coming out later this year. Star Trek Picard. Any last thoughts before we hit Henry Cavill and your surprise before we head on out?
I mean, really, Star Trek Picard. I know a lot of people are like, it's okay, but Picard is always going to have an incredibly special place in my heart. Picard was the captain that
Are
I
we talking
grew up
about the
watching.
real or the android Picard?
Well, we're talking about any form of Picard that we can
Okay,
get.
fair enough.
If yeah, no, he was the captain that I grew up watching with my dad, and you know, watching the show sometimes for me has been really nostalgic in a really beautiful way, and
Oh, you're
that
getting
is
it this season, that's for sure.
for sure. And that is really one of the things that I have enjoyed the most about the journey that Star Trek Picard has been on is just the opportunity to bask in the glory that is Picard, and even seeing him in all of his faults that they've pointed out in the new show. They're not showing Picard as the infallible captain. Um, so that also has been an